everyone! Today we are exploring the stories that shape us, and we have an incredible guest, Dr. Galina Bershteyn. She's a holistic veterinarian with 24 years of experience, certified in acupuncture and food therapy. Based in Costa Rica, she's transforming veterinary care, supporting wildlife, and hosting wellness retreats. Dr. Galina, we are so excited to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Natalie. I'm excited to be here and I'm happy to share my stories. I have many.
So let's jump right in. Please share a decision that really changed your life.
Well, as you mentioned, I live in Costa Rica full time, and that was actually a decision that involved animals that changed my life completely. I was practicing veterinarian in Canada. I had my own practice. It was an integrative practice, and at the time, I was, going through a lot of uh, burnouts, shall we say, and then COVID hit. So we all know what happened with that. So I had to make a big life decision as to whether I was going to be continuing in Canada or taking the leap to Costa Rica, what looked like the worst time, in the world to do something like this. Um, and animals actually had the biggest transformational impact on me in that decision because, as a veterinarian, I'm surrounded by animals all the time. My whole career, my whole life is focused on, on that. And sometimes that focus is, outside of yourself, whereas you sometimes forget what you need for your own well-being and your own mental health and peace of mind. And I realized at that pivotal moment that I really wanted to live somewhere and be a part of something that included animals. Like I wanted to see more animals than people around me, in the sense that I felt the connection there as like at a deeper level than what I would feel in other relationships. And it was something that I realized that I needed to be able to fulfill my purpose in life as I see it now. So, and as it evolves. So now I'm involved in various wildlife conservation projects. I work with the local community with dogs, cats, horses, monkeys, chickens, you name it, offering holistic services and advice. We are a little bit rural here, so their options are limited. So I see every day how animals transform other people's lives as well. So I wanted to make that as part of my transformation. So that was the biggest decision that was influenced by animals for me.
Really, really insightful. But what led you down that path? And what were key factors or triggers that influenced your decision?
Yes, I wanted to have a simpler life. I think animals represent that for me in the sense that you know, as a veterinarian, I would always have animals and as patients. Whereas this, there was no financial gain. There was nothing as far as, like it had nothing to do with my career. It had to do with my love of for the planet and for what we have here with our animals in general, whatever species they may be. So I think that was a realization that I had at the time, that even though I had dedicated my life to animals, had I really dedicated my life to animals, or was it something that was just like it was more of a career goal and more wrapped up in my identity? So I wanted it to be more pure than that. And that's what I felt giving back to those projects and being involved in that. And I realized that that was also the most important thing for my well-being, like just being surrounded by nature, being connected with nature in all its various forms, especially animals.
So powerful realization, shifting from a career driven identity to deeper, more personal connection with nature and animals. And for our listeners who might be at the crossroads themselves, what advice would you give on making those big life changing decisions?
I think a lot of those life decisions, I hate to say it, but I think we overthink them. I was really great at doing lists, pros and cons. Okay, I'm not happy with this. I see my life this way. I was so busy planning it that I didn't leave any room for the possibilities. So when the possibility hit me in the face that I could actually do this and move to Costa Rica, the biggest thing that stood in my way, even though I knew that that was the decision I needed to make, like intuitively, everything was pointing in that direction. I was overthinking it with the lists and the plans and oh, but if I do this, then I won't be able to do that. Or it didn't look exactly like I wanted it to. So instead of discounting it, I decided just to take that leap of faith and trust myself and trust that intuition, because I think we kind of feel like sometimes when we know we're unhappy in the situation we're in, that's actually a moment to look at your life and say, okay, is this an opportunity for growth? Like, am I not happy because of whatever I've created isn't necessarily what feels right for me? So not that it's wrong, but it's maybe not who you are anymore. So that is the opportunity to look at those decisions as opportunities. Exactly. Like, just think anything is possible. What is the most fantastical way that you picture your life? And it is possible. It's just one little step at a time. So the first and the hardest one is the first step, and that's that leap.
Thank you so much. Now let's talk about animals and their influence on people's lives. Have you ever seen a situation where a decision about animal care taught someone an unexpected life lesson?
Absolutely. Every day, literally in practice for the last 10 years. This is what I see. Um, I see I'm privileged to be I go house to house, so I do house calls. So I'm privileged to be able to be invited into people's houses and into their environments to see what's actually going on. Um, you see it at that level, and you see the transformation firsthand. And I mean, a prime example is I can think of one person that she was an elderly client, and her husband died, and they just had they just adopted a kitten together, maybe 6 months before he died. And this cat ended up being able to get her out of that grief enough to engage with her family. That was like the connection that she felt with her husband, that was, she felt like everything else was gone. So that cat was like that lifeline, that she felt that connection to the world still, because she was ready to just, check out at that point. She was ready to follow him. um, you know, and I know that this is common, especially in, elderly couples that have been together for a very, very long time. So just, seeing how that animal would be so connected to that person that was, and to the person that was gone, it was almost like it felt like her husband was still there through this cat. So it actually helped her to be able to, get out of it and still understand that she had, family still. She had, a reason to live, right? Um, so it's incredible that, none of her family was able to do it, but this little cat did. I think that's probably one of the most powerful examples I can think of.
Okay, so what the most surprising way a pet has influenced someone's big decision?
Yes, I think, living here and coming here as, well, kind of an immigrant, basically. I immigrated here, and seeing other people coming as well. And most people bring their animals. And I know a friend of mine, one of the reasons she moved here is because of her animals. She literally made this life decision because of her dog. Her dog couldn't live where they were anymore. And so she decided to just um, basically pick up everything she had and move here as well, because her dog loved it here. And it was an elderly golden retriever with, tons of arthritis, lots of medical problems that were much improved in this weather. So the dog was happy. She literally gave this dog an extra 2 years of life by moving here. And she did that. So that literally changed the whole course of her life, that one decision for her dog. So it's quite incredible that yeah, sometimes our biggest changes come from that connection with with something that doesn't even speak. It's incredible.
Incredible. Absolutely. When it comes to depression, have you seen animals play a significant role in helping people cope with challenges? Maybe a story where an animal provided comfort or sense of purpose to someone struggling.
Absolutely. 100% all the time. It's yeah, I mean it's I mean emotional support dogs, that's one example, right? I mean it's also documented, it's researched that for example, horses, there's such thing as a coherent heart rate. They can actually our heart rate syncs with their heart rate. So it actually decreases our heart rate and our blood pressure. So it actually calms us on a physical level, like on a physical level. So you hear about these equine therapy centers. This is real. This is actually researched. There is science behind this. So, yes, mental health. I mean, I've had my own experiences with it as well as documented research that nature, animals, it 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 releases certain chemicals in our brain and really decreases our stress response. It really does. So this is one of the things that is I work with the well-being retreats, with offering well-being retreats for veterinarians, for other people, not just veterinary professionals. Um, but one of the key points is their interaction with animals and how that changes that whole blood pressure, heart rate, the cortisol release. uh, in, in my own experience, I teach scuba diving. I don't know if you know that, but one of the ways that I learned, as far as like the mental health benefits, is also breath work. So if you incorporate the animal and nature interactions with breath work, that's an even more powerful technique. I was on antidepressants, I can't even tell you, anti-anxiety, antidepressants, all sorts of stuff. I was a mess. I'm off every medication for the last 2 years. And this is, I mean, it's not just that, but this was a pivotal part of being able to wean off of all of that and actually get the lifestyle and the environment and the things that I needed from that environment and myself that the medication just masked. So and animals were a huge pivotal point for that. That like emotional support is just like literally the tip of the iceberg there. I think the more we do, research into it, I think the more information is going to be coming out of it. And what I see in my wellness retreats, holy crap, sorry, but it's literally transformative. Like people like come in one way and they leave a completely different way. So and it's just keeping that peace. So anytime you touch that animal, you pet that animal, if you can visualize that and hold that, that is actually, it will train your nervous system to be less responsive. It's incredible, really. And I'm not there. I'm speaking out of turn because this is from I have speakers that come in that are experts in these fields. I have them in to speak on these subjects. So uh, and if you need more information, I can certainly point you in the right direction. But this is the latest in neuroscience.
Oh, wow. Very, very impressive. It's incredible to hear how this shift enabled you to move away from medication and achieve true well being. In your experience, what do you think an animal's greatest superpower? Have you witnessed a moment where this unique ability had a profound impact on someone's life?
Yes, I think for for me, animals, their greatest gift is that they live in the here and now. Right? They're not worried about what's happening tomorrow or what happened in the past, and they're not limited by that. They live in the moment. So I'm surviving. Here I am. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing now. There is no judgment there because they're living in the moment. So this is unconditional acceptance. This is like literally the the definition of unconditional love, right? You're taking it as it comes and you're offering yourself as you are. This is their greatest gift. And I think this is our biggest connection with them, is because we see that mirror, and no one else can accept that. Like, as far as, they accept us for us, and they accept themselves for themselves. There's no fear of, what other people think, or there's none of that. There's none of those layers that your mind tells you these stories. And that is their greatest gift. If we can see that and connect with that, and perhaps use our own, animals for that, but that is their greatest gift. And I think that is their greatest gift to us, and our greatest gift to the world, if we can actually see that as something that they give us, because then we would protect it. There would be no arguments about, oh, should we do this, or should we have this law, or, you know, it would be obvious. Okay, we're all connected in this. So what, what can we see in that to hold for ourselves? I hope that makes sense. I feel like I went off on a little bit of a tangent there.
Wow, that's truly powerful. The way animals live in a moment and offer pure, unconditional acceptance is something we can all learn from, and it's incredible how they reflect it back to us. With that in mind, what do you think about animals' ability to perceive what we don't? Do you believe they can predict or understand things in a way we can't?
Exactly what I just said. They live in the here and now, and they understand the information. They don't second guess what the information that their brain gives them. So, as an example, for me, intuition is not something that's hocus pocus, or you know gut feeling. It's actually information that your brain takes in that we're not aware of. So subconsciously your brain is processing your environment, everything around you, everything that body language, like literally everything. And this is what your intuition is. It's all that subconscious information that your brain has already processed for you. So they live on that. This is what they live on, because this is all they have. Their brain does not tell them stories about things. They understand the information and they go with their instinct because they trust it. We don't trust ours as much. Yes. So that's what it is. I think that is the biggest factor there.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for sharing this. In your opinion, do animals truly understand human speech or do they primarily respond to tone and body language? Have you observed any example in your work that suggest otherwise?
I think animals, the most that what they mostly respond to is your energy.
Oh, really?
This is what I'm saying. This is all the subconscious signals that we give off. And it's the tone of voice. It's sometimes the words. Yes, absolutely. Some animals have a level of a 5-year-old. Some animals have a level of a 10-year-old intelligence, right? Like, think about birds. They can speak, right? They understand words. Like, they will put them together in a sentence without repeating. It's not a repetition. They're putting sentences together. So, and they've seen that with with primates as well, sign language, like Coco, the gorilla. She would speak with sign language. This was not repetition, this was conversations, right? So, but the main thing that they respond to is your energy. So think about it. If your blood pressure is up, if you're subconsciously clenching, if you're like, most people are not aware of what their body is doing most of the time.
Mhm.
Let's face it, right? Like, you might be clenching your jaws, you might be doing this with your eyes, you might be holding your hands as fists. You're not even aware most of the time that this is what you're doing. But animals, that's the first thing they see. That's the first thing they respond to. So, obviously, the more relaxed you are, the more soft your tone of voice. A lot of times we give clues, like, we'll look at something and then look at, the dog, so they know, oh, you want me to go there, right? So they don't necessarily understand the word maybe, but they say, oh, there, okay, you're looking here, you want me to go here. But they're responding to your energy, right? So being conscious of how you're feeling inside, what your body is doing, because your body is like it's like the what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the temperature gauge, right? So that's how you're feeling at that moment. So if you can understand what's happening in your body, then you can understand what you're feeling and what you're giving off to that animal, what that they're responding to. So I was like as an example, in my practice, before I left Canada, I would see all the angry cats.
Oh,
Right.
whoa.
So all the other veterinarians would send me the angry cats because they would not respond the same way in my office to me, because I would consciously relax. I would intentionally set my energy so that it was, I how can I describe it? Calm, open, and just relaxed. And they wouldn't respond to me that way because they wouldn't see me as a threat. So it's interesting, if you can shift it, sometimes they will respond differently.
That was absolutely inspiring. Thank you for sharing your incredible stories with us. Your journey truly showcases the deep, life changing connection between humans and animals and the magic they bring into our lives.
Absolutely. And if anyone's had a relationship like that, if anyone's had an animal like this, you know that that's true, right? You're welcome. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to share. I have I have many examples, and this is a very magical place to see it live every day.
Dr. Galina, we truly appreciate your time and wisdom. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here and learning from your incredible experience. Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us.
Welcome. Take care.